working in the spirit of the Golden Empire. This is 17 News at noon.
Good afternoon, I'm Alex Fisher. We begin 17 News at noon with the Kern County Sheriff's Office scheduling a one-stop shop in November where a family of missing persons can connect with law enforcement to help track their loved ones. Here in our county alone, 526 missing person cases have been reported to the Department of Justice, 181 by Bakersfield Police, 261 by the Kern County Sheriff's Office. During a news conference this morning, Sheriff Donnie Youngblood said the event has been set up because the department wants to try and find answers for the families of those missing. While these type of events exist in Northern and Southern California, the sheriff adds that this is the first of its kind here in the Central Valley.
We in law enforcement and in the coroner's office know that there are a lot of people out there that are missing that can't be found or haven't been found. We also know that we find people that can't be identified. We've got those people. And lastly, we know that there's technology available today that wasn't available 20 years ago, and we are going to try and use that technology to find missing persons, to identify people that we have that were unidentifiable before.
The event is scheduled from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. November 9th at the Kern County Superintendent of Schools building at 2000 K Street in downtown Bakersfield. If you have a missing loved one, bring ID photos of the missing person, 2 family members from the mother's side for DNA collection, and any available medical records for identifying documents. On our website, KGET.com, you can find 17's Olivia LaVoice's in-depth investigation on 2 missing Jane Does. You'll find that under Murdered and Forgotten. And just into the 17 newsroom, District Attorney Cynthia Zimmer's office says she will hold a news conference regarding a major announcement pertaining to a case with significant public interest. No other details have been provided at this time, and we will be at that news conference and carry it live right here on TV 17, and we'll stream it as well on our KGT Facebook page. The NTSB just released its preliminary report of the deadly Conception boat fire. The fire happened around 3 a.m. on Labor Day off the coast of Santa Cruz Island. The report says a crew member woke up after hearing a noise on the boat. They got up and saw the fire and alerted others on the boat. The report says crew members tried to reach passengers below deck but could not use the access ladder that was on fire. It also says the crew tried to access the area through a window but were overwhelmed by smoke and jumped overboard. The report says crew members indicated there were no mechanical or electrical issues reported on the boat. 34 people died in the inferno. 5 people survived, all of them crew members. Divers recovered the last body yesterday. Investigators say they appear to have died from smoke inhalation. The youngest victim was 16 years old and the oldest was 62. It's been nearly 2 months since Bakersfield businessman Jose Arredondo was murdered in his condo in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. One man is in custody, but the lawyer for Roberto Gonzalez says his client is a scapegoat. Jose Gaspar from our sister station Telemundo Valle Central obtained court records. They show prosecutors from the state attorney general's office in Baja California claim Gonzalez was the last person to be with Jose Arredondo July 15th at Arredondo's condo. They say a security guard told police he saw Gonzalez walk into Arredondo's that evening. Prosecutors claim Gonzalez opened the door, allowing others to go inside and kill him. Court documents say blood found on Gonzalez's golf shoes and moccasins, as well as blood in his vehicle, is a DNA match with Arredondo. His attorney claims that evidence was planted.
I cannot say the police, but I can assure you it's someone that is just trying to misdirect the police investigations. Roberto is being charged not by the physical murder of Jose, just because they are charging him because he let in more people that they killed Jose. Okay? So that means that the authorities should be looking for more people, and they are not doing that.
Prosecutors say Arredondo's death was brutal. He was tortured and stabbed. Roberto Gonzalez and Jose Arredondo were friends for nearly 25 years. The two golfed together, and according to his lawyer, Gonzalez bought and sold property for Arredondo. We contacted the state attorney general's office for Baja California South. A representative said she had forwarded the request to her superiors. County supervisors approved a location for a low-barrier shelter earlier this week, and now the Bakersfield City Council is taking up the issue. And it's clear there's one thing the city and county don't agree on. 17's Karen Wall was at the City Council meeting last night and explains.
City Council has long said our current homeless shelters are brimming at capacity. A low-barrier shelter would not only offer more space, but it also takes care of the 3 Ps. People with pets, people with partners, and people with possessions.
Slowly but surely, a low-barrier shelter in Bakersfield is coming to life, aiming to be up and running by the end of this year.
The purpose of this shelter is to encourage the local homeless population to come to a new facility. And in order to do that, the facility must provide an opportunity for those people to live with dignity.
So the next steps directed for City Council: first, contract private cleaning services to clean up downtown. Second, increase policing and security in areas prone to crime, like downtown. Third, commit $155,000 for the Kern County Homeless Collaborative, the nonprofit created with the county. But one of the biggest points of argument: location, location, location.
The facility must also be located in an area that will minimize and mitigate the impacts to surrounding community and businesses.
Many downtown business owners are opposed to the shelter because they believe it will invite crime.
I've always dug downtown. The wonderful energy, the excitement, and now you have all these great restaurants and shops. Sadly, it's increased with the crime and the drug addicts.
These people will continue to plague our neighborhoods and break into our cars, our homes, and our businesses, harassing the law-abiding, tax-paying citizens of this city. We talk about wraparound services, but the services are already there, and these people aren't taking advantage of them now. What leads you to believe they will once given a place?
Mr. Flores, time is up.
But supporters say
they are human beings. We cannot solve this problem by criminalizing every single person that's on the street.
If we want people to go somewhere, there has to be somewhere to go.
On Tuesday, the County Board of Supervisors approved a site on O Street near Golden State Avenue and the 178. But the city may have other plans. They say they're still searching for a perfect location, which may cause this project to be split into 2 low-barrier shelters, one for the city and one for the county.
As we move them on to permanent supportive housing and independence, that's eventually where we need to go as a community.
The City Council will officially receive the contracts to move this shelter forward at their next meeting on September 25th. And city staff has 30 days to propose a new location. I'm Karen Waugh, 17 News.
Bakersfield police officers will soon be equipped with body cameras. City council members approved the proposal last night. The agreement with Axon Enterprise Incorporated calls for 507 body-worn cameras to be deployed over the next few years. 210 cameras will go into operation beginning next month and through the next 60 to 90 days, equipping patrol shifts, the traffic detail, and K-9 and gang units, among others. The total cost of the 5-year term is just under $3 million. All right, let's take a look at your forecast now with Kevin.
Alex, we've all been enjoying this weather. Yesterday, look at this temperature, 85 degrees. Couldn't beat it for the barbecue. For the Wounded Heroes Fund, they were happy to see the nice weather, selling lots of sandwiches for their cause. The record yesterday was 107, set back in 1899, and they can keep it. Here's a look at the overall forecast as we go throughout today. Mid-90s are expected by 3 o'clock, 94 at 6, and then back into the 80s by 9 o'clock, and a light wind throughout the day as well, and plenty of sunshine. For the mountains, we'll be in the 80s this afternoon. 3 o'clock temperature of 83, 79 at 6, and then at 9, 67 and a light wind out of the north. But throughout the early afternoon hours, I do expect to see that breeze out there. I'll have much more on our forecast. We are going to see a little bit of a warm up for the weekend, but then there's another cooling trend we'll talk about. That's coming up in a few.
All right, Kev, thanks so much. A Fresno man is happy to be alive after a harrowing swiftwater rescue. It happened back on August 26th. The man and his dog clinging to a tree in the San Joaquin River. Rescuers battled a heavy current to get to the pair. First, they get to the dog, carrying it across the water by life jackets. Then crews rescued the man.
He wasn't able to get out of the kayak. He would have definitely drowned because it had gone under and flipped upside down and filled up with water.
The man says he and his dog were in a kayak when a branch hit him in the face and he got disoriented. Deputies say the man is very lucky and he could have easily died out there. A handful of Fresno County students are recovering after their bus got into a crash and the whole thing was caught on camera. 6 kids were hurt, but not badly. Neither driver was hurt. The CHP is still investigating the cause of the crash, but officers say the driver of the Charger will likely be at fault for unsafe speed for conditions in a construction zone and causing the crash. Well, new polls show the Democratic presidential race remains consistent, with Joe Biden holding on to his lead. The big question now is whether tonight's debate will shake things up. Here's NBC's Peter Alexander.
On tap tonight, a Democratic duel in the Lone Star State. Former Vice President Joe Biden, whose front-runner status has proved durable despite intensifying scrutiny, and Senator Elizabeth Warren, the progressive fighter steadily climbing in the polls. The two tonight sharing the stage for the first time, but they've squared off before, sparring in 2005 with Warren, then a consumer advocate. Biden later joking about their history after swearing in the freshman senator in 2013. The competing candidates presenting dramatically different strategies for winning the White House. Biden trying to appeal to independents and wavering Trump voters.
Think about where we are, man. It's time for us to pick our heads up. This is the United States of America. There's nothing we've been unable to do if we set our mind to it. And that's not hyperbole. It's real.
Warren looking to motivate the party's liberal base.
There is a lot at stake, and people are scared. But we can't choose a candidate we don't believe in because we're scared.
Among those competing for attention tonight, Bernie Sanders, whose policies largely line up with Warren's, and Kamala Harris, who's had her own run-ins with Biden as she tries to propel herself into the top tier. Businessman Andrew Yang aiming to put points of his own on the board.
So about the state of the race, here's where things stand right now. According to a new national poll, it shows Joe Biden remaining in first place with 24%. And just behind him, Elizabeth Warren at 18%, Bernie Sanders neck and neck at 17%. No one else among the Democrats polls in double digits. That's the latest from here in Houston. Now back to you.
Well, if you drove by Dunkin' Donuts today and saw law enforcement on the roof, there was a reason. Officers stood on the roof of Dunkin' Donut shops across the state. They did so to raise awareness and money for the law enforcement torch run for the Special Olympics Southern California. Local officers were on top of all Dunkin' locations here in Kern County. If you were downtown around lunchtime yesterday, you may have noticed a traffic jam around our studios here at 22nd and L Streets. Hundreds of people picked up lunch and showed their support for the Wounded Heroes Fund of Kern County. Volunteers served up 2,850 lunches. That's more than 1,200 pounds of tri-tip. And at last count, we raised nearly $29,000 to support post-9/11 combat veterans as they transition back into civilian life here in Kern County. And a special thanks to Cafe Med, Mexicali, JM's Cafe, San Joaquin Bit, Chevron, State Farm, and United Vets of Kern County for their help with the barbecue. If you need to do some shopping today or want to grab a quick bite to eat, consider heading to the marketplace. It's Hope Day there. Certain businesses will donate anywhere from 10 to 25% of your purchase to the American Cancer Society. We've posted a list of all participating locations on our website, kget.com. All right, we're back after this. Welcome back. A short warm-up is on the way. Here's Kevin with a look at your forecast.
Take a look at our almanac, and overnight we're at 65 degrees. That's right where we should be this time of year. Our normal high actually on this date is 91. We'll be about 4 degrees above that. 108, the record set back in 1983. And if you're going to be out and about tonight, your sunset will be at 7:08, and look for a very bright moon. Here's a look at the skies, and no changes on this front. We're going to see clear skies throughout the next few days. The one thing we are going to see, though, is this ridge build back in. That's what the orange and red is indicating on our jet stream map here. But then take a look by the end of the weekend into early next week. We see another trough develop out of the north, and that will bring back the 80s Monday through next Wednesday. But all indications are another warm-up could be on the way by the following weekend. So definitely up and down for the temperatures. Here's a look at the highs today. 94 in Sacramento, 97 in Fresno. We'll look for the 70s and 80s south. LA, 85, 78 in San Diego, below 100 in Vegas at 94. But We're warm in Phoenix at 102. Here's a look at the Futurecast model. This is the trough that we're going to be tracking. Now, this is coming in late Sunday, so we could see a repeat of some strong winds being picked up in the afternoon and evening hours, so we'll keep that in mind. We are going to look for some rain into the Pacific Northwest, and this will move through northern California. For us here in Kern County, we will remain dry. We're just going to get the impacts of the cooler weather. Take a look at the national weather for today. We do have a thunderstorm risk for you out near Oklahoma through parts of Kansas, Mississippi, and Iowa. So this will be the area we watch today for any thunderstorm activity along with the Carolinas. Temperatures today fairly mild up in the northwest, 78 there, 73 in Salt Lake, and then we'll warm things up as we travel east. St. Louis today, 94 with Atlanta at 97. Up into the northeast, we're looking at 60s, 70s, and then we skip the 80s and go right to the 90s for Washington, D.C. Here's a look at the air quality today. Going to be a moderate with an AQI at 90. We'll call for mid-90s today in the valley, 95 in Bakersfield, Delano 94, 93 in Maricopa. For the mountains in the Kern River Valley, it'll warm you up a little bit. 77 in Pine Mountain Club, 83 in Tehachapi with Stallion Springs at 79. And then for the Kern River Valley, lower 90s, 90 in Lake Isabella, Kernville 91. For the desert, sunny, a little bit breezy here. 92 in Mojave with mid-90s out of Ridgecrest. Here's your extended forecast. And there you have it. Tomorrow, 98, 100 on Saturday with a few high clouds. 98 and possibly mostly cloudy on Sunday. And then we start to see that cooler weather as we head into early next week. By Tuesday, you're at 81. For the mountains, warmer for the weekend with the upper 80s by Saturday, cooling you down next week once again. By Tuesday, you'll be right near 69 in the Kern River Valley forecast. Also warmer with those 90s through about Sunday, but then mid-70s by next Tuesday. That's a look at your forecast. We'll send it back over to you.
Can't really complain about that forecast. All right, thanks so much, Kev. We're back with more coming up after this.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back and taking a look at stocks. The Dow Jones is up 119, NASDAQ up 49, S&P 500 up 16. And taking a look at oil prices, West Texas Intermediate is up to 55.13 a barrel, and Midway Sunset at 58.50 a barrel. With Burger King becoming the latest major retailer to begin offering a plant-based alternative burger in its stores nationwide, the beef industry has started to take notice. And while meat substitutes may not pose much of a threat at this point, CNBC's Jane Wells explains why ranchers across the U.S. have beef with the plant-based products.
Brett Crosby's family has been raising cattle for 5 generations across Montana and Wyoming in some of the most beautiful country in America.
All I've ever wanted to do is be a cowboy.
But cattle ranchers are facing a small rival with a lot of momentum, fake meat made from plants. Companies like Beyond Meat are not much of a threat yet. Revenues are relatively tiny, $240 million this year, compared to a national beef herd worth an estimated $67 billion. But ranchers are taking notice, and they have a few beefs.
We are not against science. We are not against people wanting to make new products. We just want to make sure we're on a level and even playing field, that everybody goes by the same regulations and the same rules.
Beef number one. The meat industry is regulated stringently by the USDA, but plant-based products are regulated by the FDA. But if fake meat burgers cannot be eaten raw and have to be refrigerated just like meat, Kevin Kester of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association thinks they should be regulated like meat.
We all want to have the same inspection processes and have the consumer and public confidence that those products are safe.
Beef number two claims that plant-based meat use a fraction of the land to produce the same amount of protein as cattle. Brett Crosby says all land is not created equal.
90% of the land that is grazed by cattle has no other productive use.
Then there's the beef over whether you can call fake meat meat. 13 states, including Montana, have passed laws or resolutions about labeling saying you can't call something meat unless it comes off an animal. But perhaps the greatest long-term concern could be meat made in a lab. Actual meat, not plant-based substitutes. Who needs an animal? Have you tried a plant-based meat?
I've tried them all, yes, I have.
You kidding me? No.
Kidding or not, the buzz right now is all about fake meat. And the beef industry does not want to be left in the dust. Jane Wells, CNBC Business News, on the Crow Indian Reservation in southern Montana.
We'll be right back. Welcome back. After growing concerns from a small town in Nevada, alien stock is off, but the Area 51 craze apparently lives on. Maddie Roberts, the local student who originally started the joke about storming the military base, says he has pulled out of alien stock over safety concerns. The fest was set to happen in the small town of Rachel, but city and county officials there repeatedly warned it would overwhelm their community, and they even prepared an emergency declaration. Roberts says he is now joining a different music festival that's being promoted at the downtown Las Vegas Event Center on September 19th. He says it's an EDM fest, but the lineup is, quote, top secret. The birthday surprise for a 4-year-old boy that brought out the entire community is making the nation smile. Here's NBC's Rahima Ellis.
Whitaker Weinberger turned 4 today with the party of a lifetime. Look at what's over there! The road to his Virginia school, paved with yellow sports cars, fire trucks, and school buses. Inspired by Whitaker's favorite transformer, Bumblebee. Bumblebee, Bumblebee! A celebration years in the making.
He's never had people be around for his birthday. This is the first time. So it's really special for him.
Whitaker was just 13 months old when he was diagnosed with neuroblastoma. Chemo, surgery, and blood transfusions followed. Birthdays marked with cupcakes and love, but no parties.
And do you want a party?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Until now, with help from a community he didn't even know.
It's my birthday! I was crying my whole way here because I couldn't believe that so many people came out for this.
A simple idea to have a yellow car parked outside the Weinberger home set the whole neighborhood abuzz.
There are no mundane moments in life anymore. Everything is a celebration.
Today, a birthday wish fulfilled and a walk to school everyone will remember. Rahima Ellis, NBC News.
All right, we're back after this. Well, the countdown to the Kern County Fair is on. It all kicks off on Wednesday. That's just 6 days away. Tickets are on sale now, and as we've reported, the fair is beefing up security this year by adding metal detectors at entrances. And as always, there will be plenty of fun, food, games, and free concerts. Plus, we're taking our newscasts on the road. 17 News at 5 and 6 will be live from the fairgrounds every weekday during the fair. And on Friday, September 20th, we'll broadcast 17 News at sunrise live from the fairgrounds. And of course, there are always fun newscasts that you definitely don't want to miss, and we get to highlight some of the food and all the activities that are new this year at the fair. Well, that is all for 17 News at noon. Thanks for joining us. A reminder, our disaster preparedness web chat is coming up right after this newscast. We'll see you at 5.
17 News, your local news leader, continues 24 hours a day on KGET.com and our 17 News app in the spirit of the Golden Empire. 17 News.